Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Doing well. How are you, Ryan? Good to see
Doing
you.
well. Doing well. Good to see you too. So we haven't seen each other for what, a month or so now. But so it is good to see you again. But I'd like to jump right into this interview because I know you're a busy guy too. So,
Sure.
and most importantly, we have so many people that are moving to Texas. So it's fantastic for that you've made time for this and can get on here with us because I know a lot of my clients are really going to appreciate it. So
My
I'd like to
pleasure.
just jump right in. Number one, tell us a little bit about yourself and the market that you work and how long you've been there, and that'd be great.
Sure. Yeah. So, born and raised Houstonian. So lived in the Houston area all my life, outside of the 4 or 5 years that I was in college in North Texas. So, after moving back from college, I grew up on the west side of town. So very familiar with the west side. When I came back from college, I moved to the north part of town, so in the Woodlands kind of spring area of Houston, up towards Conroe. And after meeting my wife and getting married, we moved to the northwest part of town. And so since then, I've been able to help clients all over Greater Houston, from Kingwood down to League City, Sugarland, you name it. I've been there pretty much. So know the area well. 42 years, so out or I'm 42 years old or about to be 42, and lived here. I guess that's what, 37 years of my life. So pretty familiar.
You get a good feel for it then now, huh?
Yes, sir.
Good to hear. Good to hear. So tell me, I know a little bit about Houston. Like, I've heard of a lot of the places you've talked about. I've actually even driven through some of them briefly, but I haven't really spent any time in any of those areas. And I haven't really done a lot of research on what I can buy in the Houston area for different dollar amounts. So I know a lot of my clients are real interested to know, like, what could I get for this? I know what I can get for
Sure.
my property here in LA. What can I get for my money in Houston? So, like, what kind of house can you get with $1 million in Houston?
Yeah, so for a $1 million price point, that definitely puts you into kind of the luxury sector. They can go certainly well higher than $1 million, but $1 million, that's going to be a luxury home in Houston. Starting anywhere from 2,000 to 6,000 square feet, depending on what part of the area you're living. And, again, ranging from anywhere from a standard 3-bedroom, 2-bath up to a 6-bedroom, 5-bath. So you've got a good range. As well as I do that real estate can be a very hyper local situation. So generally speaking, the closer you get to the heart of the city, the more that's going to drive your dollar per square foot up. And that's going to change kind of the spectrum of what kind of home you're going to be able to get. You're going to be able to get a little bit more home for your money on kind of the outskirts or around the perimeter of Houston.
Okay, and so I take it you're in the suburbs, kind of, I guess, if you will, of Houston.
I live on kind of the outer part of Houston,
Okay.
but everything is depending on traffic. Within 30 minutes to an hour drive time, you can get pretty much anywhere you need to go.
That's kind of what I was getting at, was like,
Sure.
so like from your area, drive time to kind of the downtown area, what would a client be looking at?
Yeah, so Houston has one of the largest indoor shopping areas with the Houston Galleria. It's home to the Museum of Fine Arts and the Houston Museum of Natural Science, as well as just a thriving kind of music and arts scene as well. All of that is going to be very central to downtown Houston. But again, that's not hard to get to. Pretty much anywhere you're at, the infrastructure is really well laid out to be able to get there within 30 minutes. If you're looking at peak traffic times, probably 45 minutes to an hour, and just giving yourself a little extra time to accommodate for that. Traffic can get a little squirrely here.
I hear you. It's not, it can't be any worse than it is here. So
Yeah.
so when we're talking about like $1 million home in those kind of outskirt areas, are you getting any land with that, or or is that like a quarter acre lot, half acre lot? What's kind of I know every area is different, but is there an average kind of lot size out there? Or are they? I mean, we have a
Yeah,
lot of
I mean,
areas. here in LA where you're looking
Sure.
at, 5,000 square foot, 5 to 7,500 square foot lots is the norm.
Yeah, in a platted subdivision, you're generally looking at about 6,000 square feet on a regular lot. But when you're talking about that more luxury price point, you may be looking at 12,000 square feet or more.
Okay,
So
cool.
almost kind of double the size.
All right. So if somebody didn't have quite that same amount of budget to work with, but they had, 500,000, can you, I
Sure.
mean, like here, somebody comes to me, I have 500,000 to spend. I said, great, that's a good down payment. But there, can they actually get something for 500,000? It's decent.
Absolutely. So that's a great question, Ryan. The average price point in Houston is around the 350s. And so, your starter home somewhere in the ballpark of 250 to 350, somewhere in there. So when you start talking about half a million or around 500,000, you're getting into those second homes or kind of breaching into the kind of the luxury price point. I mean, not maybe quite there, but again, it depends on where you're buying. You can get new construction on the outskirts for around that price point that are just some beautiful homes.
Wow, that's fantastic. So let's say that I had somebody that was, ready to make the move, but they're new to they're completely new to Texas area. Two different things. Number one, are there rental properties available, and what's kind of like average rent looking like on a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom kind of house?
The rental market is competitive. It's a strong market we're in right now, and so really there is properties available, whether they're buying, whether they're renting. They're all available. It's a matter of speed is the name of the game, and that's where kind of partnering with a great agent to be able to kind of tackle things head on from the get go is really going to help the equation and get them where they need to be in the timeline that they want to be at.
Okay.
The other thing is not kind of playing games with thinking there's a back and forth on making a strong offer. You just want to come out the gate with a strong offer.
Okay.
And so for a potential client that has maybe some, maybe they have a really strong rental history, but maybe their credit score for whatever reason, because life happens, maybe it's not where desired to be. It's not out of the equation to do maybe sometimes a double security deposit or just kind of do something to kind of lock in and put that landlord's risk aversion at ease of mind.
Cool. All right. So let's change gears a little bit and just
Sure.
kind of let's look at the lifestyle, if you will. Tell me a little bit about like what it's like living there. I mean, like, so I'll tell you, here we don't really have seasons much. It's pretty much 80 degrees and sunny all the time. So I know a lot of my clients that are making that big move. Some of this stuff can come as a shock to them.
Sure.
So I kind of like to give them an idea on what that looks like too. Like, you mentioned that there's a big a growing and thriving arts and entertainment scene kind of going on. And I know Houston has grown quite a bit and is a pretty big metropolitan kind of city that has pretty much everything, but if you were like in one of those kind of outskirt areas of the city, you didn't want to have to go all the way. Because like, I'll tell you right now, I've lived in LA my entire life, and, number of times that I go to actual downtown LA, pretty rare. We're doing most of our stuff in the suburbs. So out there, is there still, fine dining, entertainment? Is there good stuff like that? And then, like I said, do you have seasons? What do people really need to know if they're going to be moving to Houston?
Well, it's a very it's a vastly diverse city, and that's one of the things I love about it. There's 145 plus languages that are spoken in Houston, so you've got a very diverse, globally impacted culture. I think that you've got 10,000 plus restaurants as well, and so you can find fine dining without going into the heart of the city. Pretty much anywhere you're located. So that's available without the commute. As far as the seasonality goes, one thing that might be the biggest shock is kind of the heat and the humidity that comes with the summer. There's definitely seasons, but one thing they say about kind of Texas weather is that it can change in a New York minute. So part of that is because of where we are at, where we're positioned. So we're right next. I mean, we're not very far from the Gulf of Mexico. So we get kind of some of that Gulf Stream and just kind of warm stuff. And with that hurricane season preparedness, the other thing is because of where we're located from the northern perspective, you've got very flat areas of the nation right above Texas. And so with that, that means that Canadian kind of northern cold fronts can come very quickly. So we might have during the fall, it's not uncommon to have like an 83-degree day, and then the next day it's in the 30s, and then that lasts for a couple of days, and then we're back to like 80-degree days again. So it's just one of my favorite times of the year are October and March. The weather's really beautiful and moderate around that time. It's also great for just growing and planting things and just doing things seasonally at that time as well.
Cool. Cool. Well, you mentioned something that I know people will be interested in is hurricanes. Is there, we have earthquake insurance out here. So are your insurance rates, and we've had, Southern California, we've had quite a few fires, and Northern California as well. It's kind of done some wacky stuff with insurance rates and insurability on properties. Is it hard to get insurance on certain areas because of hurricanes, and is it extremely expensive?
It's not extremely expensive. There have been some things that have changed the landscape since Hurricane Harvey and just different hurricanes that have happened. So there's some, really the name of the game with insurance on that part, and I'm not an insurance agent, so I definitely, I'd advocate that they speak with an insurance agent on that front. But there's some that are in kind of floodplain areas that require flood insurance. It's actually it has to go with the property. And then other areas, it's optional, and so where we're located, it's not necessarily a bad idea to at least consider flood insurance, but there's definitely parts of the city and parts of the greater landscape where it's not a required. It's something to give consideration to, for sure.
Well, that's the great part about working with somebody like you is that you'll be able to tell them, these particular areas, and you're going to need it in these particular areas. It's just optional, and you might want it. And so I always like to make sure that my my clients, I'm sending them out to somebody that knows the landscape and can kind of guide them through those potential pitfalls. So, and I know you're a guy that can do that. So that's why I wanted to have you on today too. So I got somebody, let's say I got somebody who's on the fence and they're debating on moving to Houston or another city, or maybe Austin or something. Tell me, the top things that you would say should lean people to come your way. What's the great part about living there?
I'm a musician myself, so I love being able to connect with kind of the general arts in town. I'm also a foodie, so being able to be around incredibly diverse, where you could take your palate anywhere you want to go, is super, super cool. It has the world's largest medical center here. So that's a distinct advantage. If there's anything that ever comes up, you can trust that there's more than likely an expert in the field right here. So that's kind of a nice advantage of living here as well. And that's as a whole, the job landscape and just the economy of Houston has been very, very stable over the years.
Great. You made a great point with the medical center, because so many of my clients that are leaving California are cashing out here to retire somewhere else, and if they're up there in age, that's definitely a big concern for them, and that's great to know. All right, so in the interest in showing fairness and balance, that we're not just everything's sweetness and light. There's got to be some downsides to living in Houston too. What would you say the downsides to living there would be?
Well, we kind of mentioned it a little bit earlier, but it gets hot in the summer, and so your AC bill and your water bill can kind of come at a premium during that time. I enjoy the mountains, but there's no mountains right here. Okay. We are fairly close to the Texas Hill Country. So that's a great escape for, a weekend or getting a week away. There's some great wineries out there. And so being from California, I'm sure that might be appreciated as well. But to get to some true mountains, you're looking at a very long drive across state to get to New Mexico if you're doing some skiing, or you're looking at, and when I say very long drive, we're talking probably 10, 12 hours. If we're talking flight, then of course It's just the airfare and flying somewhere to get there. Hurricane preparedness, the heat of the summer, and I'd say the traffic. The traffic can be kind of a bear sometimes, but throw in a good audiobook, it's not as bad.
All right. Wrapping up then, is there anything that you think I missed? I should have asked you. I didn't ask you. Is there anything that people would want to know more, or even anything more about yourself? That, because I do love the fact that you told us a little bit about yourself, that you're into music, and I like people to know that, because obviously a lot of people like to work with people that are like them, and then obviously we always enjoy working with clients that have some similar interests to us. It makes our job a lot more fun and easier. So if there's anything else you want to add in there, or anything you think I should have asked or that we missed, please, now's a great time.
Sure. I guess the one thing I would want people to know is that the reason I do what I do is to help people be successful. And that's not just in real estate, but in life. So whatever their journey is, and asking those questions to understand their motivation, to help them reach their goals is really important to me. Whether that means they're working with me, or whether that means I'm kind of connecting them with maybe an agent somewhere else in Texas, whether that's in Dallas or San Antonio, Austin, just whatever it may be. I'm in it for them. And that's how I build my business, is by helping people and by generating great referrals and having things in the utmost integrity and helping them get where they need to be.
Well, and then Greg, that's one of the reasons that I liked you right away when we met. So I wanted to make sure I had you on here so that we could potentially send some business your way, because I know you do look out for your clients, and you'll take care of my clients just like they were yours for forever as well. So I can't thank you enough for doing this, man, and sharing with us. Obviously, I'm going to include a link to all your information down below, so that anybody that reaches out to me, they can easily access your information, so that if they are looking to move to the greater Houston area, Woodland, Sugarland, anywhere out that way, League City, I'm going to definitely make sure they head your way. If anybody has any other questions, you can feel free to reach out to me directly or reach out to Greg directly. Like I said, both of our information is down below. Greg, thank you again. Thank you so much. Have an awesome day, and I will talk to you soon.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Ryan.
Take care, buddy. Bye-bye.